Hi, I'm Greg LeBlanc, and I'm here at the Haas School with Clark Sept, who is a principal at Gensler here in the San Francisco office.
That's
Welcome,
right.
Clark.
Thank you. Good to be here, Greg.
So Clark, here at the Haas School, we're very much interested in the what we call workplace science, workforce science, people analytics, and as an architect, as someone at an architectural firm, you're intersecting with folks at companies that are interested in things like productivity and workplace health and worker satisfaction. They're interested in attracting and retaining people and getting the most out of the people. What does the science tell us, and how can architects help to engage clients with what they know about the science of the workplace?
The science really begins and ends with, in the case of the workplace, with employee engagement, which is something that is relatively straightforward to measure. That place, the physical environment combined with the digital environment has a lot to do with how employees feel at work. And so this is what we really seek to draw out through our engagement with the clients in such a way as we're able to identify those things that are unique about the organization that we can then, in a discerning way, develop strategies that support the life and culture of the organization and the ways of working, have that translated into the design of the space, so that the design itself ends up being a generative element in the life of the employees at work. And so if we think about the employee experience being of paramount importance in this, really part of what we do is we like to start with that and then build the design from there.
Now, are there new tools that enable us to kind of track the relationship between workplace and engagement more scientifically than perhaps we could in the past?
Absolutely. We're working with many of our clients taking various different forms of data and converting those into predictive analytic tools that help with the determination of where the right resources need to be placed, particularly at larger scales, where we've been able to help our clients understand in terms of utilization studies how many of what types of facilities they need to be investing in, rather than the older style of, well, we'll just build enough of these things and hopefully they'll get used. So with the predictive analytic approach, we're able to really come much closer towards the approach being optimizing the resources in support of the people who are there to use them.
And are clients in the Bay Area or in technology sector, are they more demanding? Are they more educated? Are they more interested in these types of issues than, say, a more traditional client?
We find that certainly a lot of this work is being led out of the tech sector, though today we see probably the large consultancies are taking this to the next level in terms of further integration of the technology in the space, and to some extent putting technology first, and then the space itself is in a supportive role to the technology.
So you really need to understand the business pretty well to understand how to craft that experience for the client.
That's indeed true, and it's a big part of our focus at Gensler is going in and first understanding the business itself and understanding what the priorities are, what are the goals, and then developing the strategies and designs from there.
And we talk about the desirability of low cost, we talk about the desirability of aesthetics, we talk about the desirability of functionality, but often those three things are seen as being in conflict. How can you reconcile them, and how do you measure the trade-offs?
Yeah, one of the big challenges is reconciling the different, what I like to refer to as timescales, because you have technology as perhaps the shortest timescale in terms of its development, inception, and then replacement. People occupy a sort of an intermediate timescale relative to attitudes, and the real estate and the buildings occupy the longest timescale, oftentimes driven by just the sheer accounting principles and the writing off of, the investment is typically measured in decades rather than years.
Well, great. I think this is, again, we're at the early stages of a very important new science. Thanks for coming in, Clark.
Yes, my pleasure. Thanks, Greg.